physical therapy, medical massage to help people lose weight. And today we're going to help you bulletproof your shoulder. And let's talk about the shoulder just a little bit. Shoulder is a super complex joint. It's the most mobile joint in your body. It's supposed to go from 360 degrees this way, 360 degrees the other way, all the way over the top of your head, all the way back down, without any pain, clicking, popping, any noise of any kind. And most people are like, are you sure? Are you positive that's what I'm supposed to move? And the answer is yes. So the reason why that our shoulder joint starts to break down so much and you end up with pain on a consistent basis is posture. I'm going to talk about posture over and over and over.
Yes. Hold this just for me a minute. I gotta go grab a piece of it.
On this, during this thing, because if you don't fix your posture, you're going to hurt your shoulder while you're working out. There's no ifs, there's no ands. It's going to happen because you're not using this joint correctly. The farther forward I go, the more I'm only using two muscles. If I'm back where I'm supposed to be, I have proper range of motion, and my scapula is laying flat, so it can move the correct way, and you use the muscle you're supposed to use instead of the big, powerful ones that your body wants you to use. Most common tear of your rotator cuff is supraspinatus. It's the one that lives back here. And how you do that typically is reaching up and back. Kipping pull-ups are a fairly common way to do that. Kipping pull-ups is where you're swinging on the bar. If you don't stay engaged in that, it's very easy to hurt your shoulder. Also, throwing mechanisms is a common way to tear that as well. The most common thing you need surgery for in your shoulder is actually labrum. So a labrum tear is the inside of the joint, sits like this, and then around it is your joint. On the opposite side of the rotator. Once that tears out, unfortunately, you need surgery. It never heals on its own. It will cause chronic achy pain forever. It doesn't test orthopedically like a tear, but most of the time you can prevent it just with some simple strengthening exercises and then consistently doing that over time. The consistency with this stuff is key. These are small enough muscles, you literally do these exercises every day. So this is what the shoulder looks like. As I was talking about, very complex joints. In the front is actually where we start doing most of our work. When we talk a lot about your bicep tendon, we talk a lot about your pec, and then I'm going to talk a lot about your upper trapeze. Well, that's my neck, Dr. Brian, I know. But it connects, and then when they connect, they contribute to each other's issue. And we like to do this a lot. And we like to sit like little T-Rexes a lot, and that's where a lot of the issues. So after you get this, that. So we're going to go over the basic set for pure shoulder. So I wanted to go over pure shoulder strengthening versus overall posture mechanics. And they're both really important, and if you had to choose one, honestly, posture mechanics are probably more important. But if you can do both of these or superset these into your normal workout, you're going to get a lot more out of it. So with your band, you're going to walk out until there's tension, and then you're going to pin your elbow, just like this. So the key with this is to not do this, to not do this, but keep it pinned. And you notice that I'm standing very straight, proper. I'm not arching, I'm not pulling. It all has to be square. You can separate your feet. I like putting my feet closer together because it makes me pin more. And then you're going to come across very slow and controlled, and then come back out very slow and controlled. Everybody wants to do this. This does no good. You're not using your muscle properly. The slower you can make yourself go, the better result we get. The other thing I see people do is they collapse their shoulder in each time. Like they're almost like they're arm wrestling the band. We don't want to arm wrestle the band. We want to use our shoulder. You should feel it back behind your shoulder here, not up here, and definitely not here. Arm-wise, your arm should be slightly below 90 degrees. You're at that elbow. If it's above, you're just doing a bicep curl. If it's below, you're doing a tricep extension. So right there is the sweet spot to get to the actual shoulder joint. So let's all try that, and then I can check your forms.
If those red bands are too heavy for you guys, we do have some orange bands over there too if needed.
So starting point is here. Here. Yep. Well, it's wherever you can still touch. Yep. And then keeping it tight, and then you kind of feel how your bicep already wants to do this. So right there, and you come across, and then don't rotate. So this stays here.
This band is too strong.
It is too strong. And then your head always stays up. We don't want to use our shoulders.
Oh.
And this has to go.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Too strong of a band for each.
Yeah.
So try it.
Yep.
Yep. And then the head position is always here.
Okay.
You You should be able to bob with your head at
Okay.
any point. It makes it so your upper traps do not engage.
So I'm gonna get a lighter band.
Yeah, the orange ones, the light orange ones, they're skinnier ones. Those work out really well for this.
Thought you were gonna be the champion at this one. And then don't use.
The skinnier the orange, the better, Erica.
So, this is an important part, is don't let your wrist move in and out. Your wrist stays completely neutral. It should be flat on the back of your hand, almost like you have a board, and then it stays there the entire time. I'm not doing this, and I'm not doing this. It's harder if these bands with the handle would be slightly easier.
The orange band better.
Yes, much better.
Right there, so your starting point, that's your rate of motion. This stays here, and then this goes down just slightly. You kind of feel like you keep wanting to go up at 92, so then you're going to come across your body nice and slow and controlled.
Use it for
Problem is GCP, they ridicule you when you grab an orange.
That's the case. Very slow, very controlled.
Not when you're doing physical therapy ones.
Yeah, you're good. I gave you 2 to look at it, and then we gotta stand where we're supposed to. So everybody head up. Much better. Perfect. All right. So then we're gonna do the exact opposite. So you can stay there, and we'll walk you through it. So you grab with your opposite hand, and your elbow starts against the side of your body, and then your hand starts against your stomach, and you're gonna very slowly go out, and then come back in. Out. And again, chest is up. The most common mistakes with this one is I wing my arm out, or I try to get that extra degree with my wrist, or I use my upper trap. So I start doing this. So make sure it's down, drop, engaged before you get going. Just a little slower, and then just a little over. You see how that helps you open up your shoulder a little bit more? Your head does not like staying.
I know it doesn't.
And you kind of feel how it restricts the range
Yeah.
of motion.
Oh, yeah.
Now you're using one muscle instead of 5. That's perfect. Just bob the head though. So why I keep having people bob their head is a good double check, especially when you're doing these on your own, to make sure you're not recruiting your upper traps. If I'm here, I can't move my head. If I'm down here, I can't, and I'll keep my upper traps released. So bobble is always a great way to get there. Alright, so our next exercise is called a scarecrow. This is one of my favorites for a couple different reasons. So with a scarecrow, you're going to need 2 bands, but I'll show you how to do it with the one at a time. You're going to pull your arms like so at 90 to 90. Just hook this up somewhere, not against the wall. And then once you're here, you're going to very slowly rotate your arms backwards, and then you're going to push up. You go back down and down. This is very hard. So the key is with this one. I'm in this 90-90 all the time. Your elbow's going to want to come in. This elbow's going to want to go up or down. So it has to stay here in order for this to be a good exercise. Let's give it a try. With one arm at a time, you can do it too. I prefer both at the same time. Yeah, so the elbow goes up, hands stay
Yep.
out.
So you're gonna pull here, and then just rotate there. Yeah.
There.
Yeah, and then your hands go up. Yep, and then back down.
Oh, that's the thick orange band. There's a thinner one over there.
What is this for?
Here, 90-90. That's always up. And then you're gonna rotate off my hand. Yeah, but you see how you use all this?
Yep.
Yep, so drop this down, 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 and then the shoulder goes up.
Okay,
You don't have to use this to lift here.
okay.
And then this goes out.
Ow. And then just,
Yep. You would need a lighter band.
yep,
Yep. And then just pinch down.
okay.
So Erica, these would be good to do on crossover symmetry
Good.
ones.
So
Yeah.
this is where we want you to start. It's very robotic. Yeah. And then same thing, try not to use this. Just tilt your head like this back and forth as you're doing it. It won't let you use it that way. And then you're moving your wrist. You go all the way down, all the way up, all the way down. Yep. Too heavy of a band as well. But so normally we do about 15 of these. 15 on each arm, or just 15 if you're doing them both at the same time. Starting to feel the burn in those rotator cuff muscles yet?
Yes.
Okay, so the next one is called a sword pull. So a sword pull actually works all 4 muscles of the rotator cuff at the same time. It's called a sword pull because it looks like a sword pull. So you start down here. Here's my imaginary sword. You're going to pretend to be a musketeer for the day, and you're going to pull up, out, and away. Most common mistakes with this one are, again, I rotate my shoulder or my whole body instead of staying nice and open and controlled. It should come all from the back of my shoulder, not my lower arm, my upper arm. A lot of people bend their elbow first. You've lost all of it, all the goal of this exercise. So first thing with all these is open the chest up, pull your shoulders back and down, and then start up, out, and away. And then slow and controlled on the way back down in this 45-degree plane. So you're unsheathing and then sheathing. Looks really good, way too fast.
Way too fast. Well, it's a lot harder where you go slow.
That's the pace.
Okay.
Slow and control.
Yep.
Slow and control. Good, other than you're raising the opposite shoulder. And then when you come back down. And then way back down. You kind of feel how you actually have to engage the shoulder. Instead of letting the band pull you, you're pulling the band. Good, everybody's core is engaged, everybody's head is up. Perfect. That's called a sword pull. So that works all 4 muscles rotated up. If you don't have time for a whole bunch of these, that one catches them all. All right, so a deep row with a hold. It's like a scapular pinch. It's not really a true row. So the difference, and I couldn't even find an image of this done correctly online today. I looked for a while. Everybody was here doing this. Like, this is just a bicep curl. I'm not using my back at all. Or I saw a lot of this, a lot of this. Again, I'm not using my rhomboids at all, which is the goal of a row. I want to do a nice, deep scapular pinch. So once I'm here, I open up my chest. I don't pop my sternum open. I keep my core engaged. I don't lean backwards. That's not helping anything. I'm perfectly straight. I pull back and down. And then once I'm here, I'm going to hold for a very slow 10 count. Think like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, slow. And you would do that 10 times. So let's get you guys set up on that. So open the chest, and then keep the core engaged, and then pull back and down. So you see, if you go farther than this, the problem is you roll your shoulders forward.
Okay.
So right about there. So right before your shoulders would roll forward, and you want to pinch back here without losing your core. Yep. So think about pinching my fingers. So step 1, open your chest. Step 2, pull your elbows.
Okay.
Without losing your core. And then hold for a 10 count. That's perfect. Typically your hands can be straight up, like so. And then you want to pinch back and down here. So it's a really deep, low pinch. Keeping those shoulders open. Head's in a great position. Core looks great.
Dorothy, it's like you've been practicing this a little bit, huh?
So the key with this is a slow 10 count, do it 10 times, and then really make sure that the rest of your posture is good. If you can't hold your posture, if you feel like you have to lean in order to keep the band, it's too heavy a band, go lighter, because you can always go longer. I prefer holding it longer rather than adding more reps. So go to a 15 count, go to a 20 count, but you don't necessarily have to do it 15 or 20 times in order to get the best results. The next one is called a reverse fly. So we're basically in the same position, except our elbows are now pinned. I'm standing straight up, and I'm going to pull this direction. Straight out and down. A couple of things with this one. Make sure your elbows stay where they're at. Don't let them flail. Don't let your hands go out. Don't stay here. Go nice and tall, and then open. You're going to be pinching. This is for rhomboid minor. You might have to do this one at a time. Get with the bands. Why not? Just leave it on. So to keep this neutral, wrist neutral. You keep wanting to roll out, so all at 90, and then this goes here. You're pinching way deep down here.
Okay, get my shoulders up.
Yep,
I
and
sit
then
at my
head goes
desk
up.
too.
Yeah, and then hold for a very slow 10 down. So wrist
I like that.
neutral,
Okay.
So this is where we're gonna be, like this nice neutral flat wrist in all
Mhm.
directions. And then you're gonna open your chest here, keeping your elbows here,
Okay.
and then pull your hands straight backwards.
Oh.
And then you kind of feel how much of a deeper pinch that is.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the goal. Elbows stay in, back. There you go. Head up. Yep. Drop it here. Take it, you get a lot of tension through there.
I didn't know I was going to be doing this today.
And hold. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. I was getting it unkinked. We don't want to create any new problems. So, the next exercise is called the snow angel. So, you're going to have a band more similar to the crossover symmetry style of bands. This is a knockoff of a crossover symmetry band. You can get a full set for like $15 on Amazon. If you Google like crossover symmetry, and then like 4 down will be the exact same thing, just drastically cheaper, and they have nice door stoppers in them. So I highly recommend them because you get the full set. They go from like 25 through 55 pounds. So there's plenty of different resistance on there. And it all comes as a pack. But with the snow angel, I'm going to be standing straight up and down, like so. My hands flip open towards the front. I like keeping my thumbs out to make sure that they're where they're supposed to be. You gotta relax your neck, and then you're gonna very slowly and controlledly go up over top of your head, and then come back down. So I'm gonna bring you guys over here, because that's not gonna work for this.
We do have a couple of the corded bands over there too if you want to hook those up.
That's fine.
Okay.
Just whoever like you first, we'll check the form. I can't check everybody's form at once.
That works.
Okay. All right, now.
So wrists are flat, neutral. You're gonna pull back to here. You're not gonna let it go forward from there. Don't roll your shoulders forward, they stay back. Keeping that pinch here the whole time. And then very slowly and controllably go up over top of your head. And try here to not let them go forward, yep. And then you come back down very slow and controlled. You're leaning just a tiny, there you go, perfect. And normally you would do that 10 times. And really concentrate on not letting that head, there you go.
What?
I want to bobble. I don't want you using your upper trap. You recruit from your upper trap a lot, which is going to cause like tension headaches. It's going to cause like thoracic outlet syndrome. It's going to cause all kinds of things. So
I need a baby version of this.
Yeah, they make them all the way down to like 10 pounds. This is, I think you said these are 35, right?
yeah, these are-
Yeah.
So that goes there. That goes there. Head looks good. Up and tight a bit. Yep. And then very slowly go up. So wherever your range of motion stops, we don't have to go beyond that, but you want to still pinch back as far as you can without leaning. And then you come back down slow and control. Keep the wrist here. It's called anatomical position for this one, so you're just like the Da Vinci picture. Always out, yep. You know how you make a snow angel as a kid? That's why they're called snow angels. Yep, try not to.
That's difficult.
Yep, that's the goal. It's gonna burn quickly. But it's a great exercise. It makes you use a lot of different parts of your scapula. This is all about preventing the scapula back here from winging out. When you see a lot of people's posture, you'll notice that as they go forward, that scapula is way away from their back, and it can either be winging or it can be flaring. That's a topic for another day. Bobble your head. There we go. The top is the hardest part. Everybody wants to go forward. Really focus on pulling all the way back. Perfect. It's like you've done that before. So, first thing to do is make sure you open all the way. You're almost pinching your scapula back here. Head up. So, with your height, this dead where your eye should be the whole time.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah. So the next step, so after you've done that 10 times, you're going to do that exact same motion, except you're going to pump backwards, all the way up, and all the way back down. It's a very small motion, it's only a couple degrees, about every 6 inches, all the way up, all the way down. That one's gonna burn a lot, so only 10 times, and take your time. It's not a whipping forward each time, it's a very slow, very controlled motion, so that way I keep grabbing onto that scapula as much as humanly possible. And then I's, T's, Y's, and W's. So you can do these standing, you can do these off of an exercise ball. I prefer them off of an exercise ball.
You got them all above you.
So, you are gonna sit up on your knees like so, engaging your low back all the way. This is gonna be, should be a little taller in an ideal world. I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna go out to a T, out to a Y, out to an I, and then back to a W. And that would be 1. You do that 10 times. Typically, you don't need weight at first. If you're gonna use weight, think like 2 pounds, not 10 or 15 pounds. I think the most I've ever had anybody in my clinic ever use for that was 10 pounds. And they were a professional bodybuilder, crazy athlete. So it's very atypical. Most people start at 1 pound, we get to 2 pounds sometimes, and rarely do we get to 5 pounds. So it's one of those things where it's just an endurance, they're very small, very controlled muscles. So that's how you bulletproof your shoulders and improve your posture all at the same time. A lot of this is more posture than shoulder. I want to walk you through all the rotator cuff stuff so that way you can prevent those injuries, but I also wanted to give you the most important part, which is standing up straight. So, any questions?
I do have one on programming of that. So that you'd do that all in one session, right? So that's
You could, or you could superset it. So like if you're doing like a snatch complex or a jerk complex where you're going overhead, or like even a press complex, after you're done with a single set of presses, I would do internal and external rotations. Or the next day, if you're going to do some pull-up work, I would then do like the scarecrows and probably the sword pull. So that way and I would do that before I did any, ideally do it as part of the warm-up, and then you superset it in something that's not moving very fast. ISTs, Ys, and Ws, you can do off of a bench. So if you're having a bench day, once you're done with the bench, which is all here, you then flip over onto your stomach and you do T, Y, I, and W with weight or without weight. And that way, and you can do the snow angels laying on a bench like that too. You can grab a weight and then do it slowly and controllably as I'm laying on a bench, or you can do the pump backwards laying on a bench. Pretty much all of these, I like them standing because it makes you stay controlled, makes your core stay in control. But if you don't have the space or you don't have the time, you can do them off of a ball, you can do them off of a bench. It all becomes the same. You just have to think about where gravity is pulling from. Right now the wall is doing all the work. So if I want to do internal and external rotations, and I don't have a rig like that, I have free weights, I have to get on the ground and go opposite of the direction that I'm going. Otherwise, if I'm up here just doing this, I'm just using it's a fancy bicep curl. Is all that is. And I see that a lot in the gym where people are doing this type of stuff with dumbbells. They're just not using the muscle they think they are. If you're trying to do like a scapular hinge that way, great, but mostly you're using this, unfortunately, not what you want. So a bent over row is a great thing to incorporate on like a deadlift day. So in the proper bent over pinch, and then you just keep that super light so you can hold it. Instead, why I keep saying these holds and slow control, the back half of our body is slow twitch muscle fibers. So they build much better when you do holds instead of just more weight. It's not all about weight. And their job is to hold you in place throughout your entire day. You have an 8, 10, 12-hour day where you're sitting. We need endurance. We don't need necessarily more power. You don't need to look jacked in your back. You need to be functional. Good question. Any other questions? That's all I have for the show. Thank you all for having me. I really appreciate it.